Hey guys, before we get up to our guest this week and then also to our kill call, I want to go over a little bit of housekeeping. First up, I want to talk about is our first film. I'm currently working hard on editing and putting together my very first hunting film, which I'm hoping to release sometime around Christmas break. You're going to be able to find that at our YouTube. So the YouTube is called The Bowyer Collective. So you ever go to the YouTube, look up The Bowyer Collective, you'll be able to find us there. And right now, you're going to be able to find some shorter hunting videos, updates, shorts, and just a bunch of random stuff. But I'm hoping to grow that out and really bring that to maturity with video content for you with the release of this hunting film. You're also going to start being able to view a few of our podcasts in video format there, okay? And honestly, I could just use a little bit of love over the YouTubes. Go on over there and check it out. This leads to a perfectly good segue, as you've heard the name dropped a few times, called the Bowyer Collective. The idea behind the collective is that we're going to encompass the podcast, the Bowyer podcast, and a lot of other things to bring it all underneath one roof, right? So bow making, the hunt for wild game, stories that are highlighting traditional values. It's all going to be beyond the Bowyer podcast underneath the Bowyer Collective. Don't worry, the podcast isn't going anywhere. It's still going to be part of the OKS Podcast Network. But now you're also going to be able to find all things Bowyer under the Bowyer Collective. And lastly, we've got a website. We're grown-ups now. I know it's about time. The website's still a little bit rough, but you can check it out at www.thebowyercollective.com. So that's the Bowyer Collective, all one word, .com. We're going to add some stuff there. So we're going to be adding more video and audio content. We've got some merch over there. So, if you want to keep the show on the radio waves, by all means, get some merchandise, shirts and hats, etc. And then I want to add a little spot on that website where we invite traditional archery clubs to start sharing their calendars and things of that nature when we're going to have gatherings or shoots. So whether that's like a large organization like the PBS or Compton, we can share things on there, or a local archery club like one of the ones we have here in North Carolina. We've got the Barefoot Traditional Archers. And so these other folks somehow integrate a way that they can update a calendar on there to bring more eyes on or a greater audience to their local shoots that they're having. Because a lot of these clubs typically have a Facebook page or something like that doesn't get as much traction. So we're hoping to be a focal point where folks can share that information and share the love of traditional archery and traditional bow hunting in this little shop that we have here. But it's all going to grow, and I hope that you can check it out. Let me know what you think of the website, of the YouTubes, and all those things. And again, nothing is going to be changing when it comes to the Bowyer podcast. We're just adding to the variety of content that we have. Thanks for listening. All right. Also, I want to get over to our kill call. So there's a young lady that I follow on Instagram named Sarah Ward. She's a champ. She knocks down a lot of white-tailed deer with a stick bow, and at least for the last several years, she's been an avid hunter and archer and generally great woodsman or woodswoman. However, we're supposed to put it to where I don't get yelled at. Anyways, this week's kill call is brought to you by Miss Sarah Ward, where she talks about the story in which she just got a really dandy doe hunting with her stick bow out in Oklahoma. So stay tuned, listen to her kill call, which is very detailed, and I love it. There's a lot of imagery involved. And then we're going to get to this week's guest, the one and only Matt Zirnsak from the Push Archery. Stay tuned.
Hey Matthew, it's Sarah. I just wanted to give you a shout and kind of update you here on my deer season so far down in Oklahoma. I've been doing a lot of hunting here in Central State since season opened in October. A lot of close opportunities coming in 30, 40 yards, but no real chance to shoot at any of them. I did get one good opportunity and completely bombed it at like 10 yards, and I don't even want to talk about that, but you know how it is, and let my nerves get the better of me, so I was bummed there for a minute. Got the opportunity, though, to go visit my dad. He lives about 4 hours away from me here. He's down in the southeastern part of the state. He actually lives just up the road from a lot of our public land down in the Ouachita Mountains, so it's been cool. He moved down there within the past 7 years, I want to say. I don't know, but I finally decided I was going to get down there and do some more hunting, trying to get a deer so I can show him the process. It's become a goal of mine. I don't come from any hunting family or nothing, so it's been cool getting to tell my dad the stories, but I was really wanting to show him in person the experience. So, got to take a trip down there, take some vacation time, good old days, and one day I see some deer, about seven does trotting through his property. He's got about 7 acres there where his house is, and I asked him, I was like, Dad, how would you feel about me just hunting right here and seeing if I can get one of them deer? And he was like, yeah, why not? Go for it. And so as I got the okay, next day I climbed a tree, and his property's really cool. It makes like this nice little funnel for these deer, actually, because one side's a little bit of a steeper slope, creek running right at the bottom of it, so it just makes an area they don't really want to try to trek across, and the rest of it's nice and pretty open, pretty flat. A lot of tall, mature trees, a lot of oaks dropping acorns about as big around as my thumb. The acorns were actually killing me because down here ours are little itty bitty and not really worth too much eating on, but it's just there's plenty of acorns, and I was seeing some good rubs down at the bottom. There's 2 rubs I saw that I was just like, there's deer in here. There's for sure deer in here. The next day I got the permission. Next day I climbed the tree. I'm in my saddle, and I get nervous because as I'm climbing the tree, they start running through the property, and I'm like, this is it. They've already busted me. I'm done. It's not going to go my way, but they end up running through, and I climb it anyways. So I'm thinking maybe something else will come through. I'll get lucky. Who knows? It was a bunch of does, and I'm seeing rubs. There's got to be more in here. So I sit in that tree for about 30 more minutes. I really didn't get up there too early because, again, this is my vacation time. I'm hanging out too, not trying to do too much, but I wanted to do some hunting, again, show my dad what I could do. So I got real lucky with that permission climbing that tree, because sure enough, about 30 minutes goes by and sun's starting to fade, and a doe just comes running through full speed, mouth open, panting like a dog, and right behind her, right on her heels, is this nice burly looking 6-point, and he's scruff at the neck. He's ready to go. He's chasing her. He's full on running. And I just start getting real shaky and excited, because I'm like, he's gonna run right by me, and I'm gonna throw one in him, and it's gonna be great. And sure enough, they sit there and they play their game for at least 30 minutes as the sun's setting, and getting a little bit duskier, and I know shooting light's going to end pretty soon. I'm starting to think to myself, it's not going to happen. They're staying 50, 60 yards out there. They're not turning this way. It's not meant to be. And about 10 minutes before last light, and I'm thinking to myself, at least I hope they run off so I can get out of this tree and they won't see me at that point, and just let me get out of here with a little bit of dignity. And as I'm sitting there thinking of what my plan's going to be getting down from that tree, she just takes a line straight towards me, just right at me. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. He's going to run right behind her, right with her. And sure enough, as she runs by me, she stops, she turns and looks back at him, and he's just staying back. He's keeping that 50, 60 yards out from me, and she's just standing right by me, huffing and puffing and stomping that hoof at him. Get the hell away from me at that point, and excuse my language. But it was just great to see this kind of involvement and this unfolding in front of me. It was really cool. I'd never really seen some rut action up close like that before. I'd seen some chasing, but it was from far out. I'd never seen it up close like this. And at this point, she's standing about 15 yards from me, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to take her. I'd rather have a deer than no deer, and I'm not out here hunting for horns. I'm out here hunting for experience and for meat, for anything. And so as she takes a couple steps forward, I draw my bow back at her, and she's, I think, so on edge, she just catches my movement out the corner of her eye, and she takes a half step right as I let go of that arrow, and I hear it, right into the chest. You can hear a good shot. Well, I shouldn't say good shot, just a shot that entered the cavity as opposed to hitting bone or something. It was just a good sound. Again, it's right at last light, and so I couldn't exactly see whenever she took off, where I hit her exactly. I knew it felt good, it sounded good, but I just didn't quite see it. As soon as she took off, she took such a sharp curve away from me. So as soon as she takes off, he takes off right after her. He's chasing her again. I'm just thinking to myself, I hope he doesn't push her off the property. It's 7 acres I'm hunting on here. If she ain't down within 100 yards, I might be in some trouble. So I get down out of the tree and I go get my dad inside the house. And I said, Dad, I got one. I did it. I got one. I tell him I want to wait about 30 minutes, though, because I couldn't see exactly where I hit her. It felt great. Sounded great. I'm sitting there. I'm shaking. I'm telling him. And so I tell him, let's give it 30 minutes, and then I want you to go out and trail her with me. And so, sure enough, I tell him about it for 30 minutes and make a story of it. And we go out looking with the flashlights, and about 10 yards from where I shot her, blood started. You could tell it was a bright, frothy red color, good lung shot, something like that. And I start following it, and we follow it, and we follow it, and I'm not finding the arrow. I'm finding a good blood trail, but no arrow, nothing like that. And we go about 80 yards, and I'm starting to get a little nervous. I'm thinking to myself, gosh, I hope she's down on the property. I don't want to have to go looking for permission. And though I will, I just don't. That's not what you want to have to do. So I start getting antsy and telling my dad, I might have to go talk to your neighbors here in a little bit and see if I can't find her. And we're both just nervous walking this blood trail, and sure enough, we're about 20 yards from the fence line, the barbed wire, and I flash up my beam of light, and there's her white belly, just beautifully glistening in the nighttime. And I could have jumped and screamed and hollered and shook my dad. I was just so happy she was down right there, right before the fence started. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, Dad, this is it. I was shaking him back and forth. We did it. And it was just a great experience that I got to have my dad there to follow me and feel the anxiety of the ups and downs of what could be, what will be, and what you find at the end of the trail if you do find anything. And it was great. I got to throw her up in my little sled, my little jet sled, and drag her back up the hill, back towards the house. And I strung her up and gutted her and processed her, and it was just a great time watching my dad's face and seeing his brain work around the situation of his little girl doing this thing that, again, don't come from a hunting family, so this is something he's not really ever seen before. And I think he was just dumbfounded. He didn't know how much really went into it. And so it was cool to give him the full experience and really bring him into my world for a change. It was a great time. It was a beautiful doe. I was just so lucky the arrow entered a little bit higher, more forward than I wanted it to, just because she did take that little step at me when I drew back. But sure enough, it went through both lungs. I found it broadhead lodged in that offside lung, and it was just all chopped up inside. She had broke the arrow off at some point, and I ended up going back and looking for it for next day and found it, about midway between her and the shot. But she had snapped it off and just turned those lungs to garbage on the inside, and I couldn't have been more thankful for her life and for how everything played out. It was a great experience that I got to share with my dad. Yeah, I just want to let you know that little update. I'm still guns a-blazing out there, not guns, bows a-blazing. Doing as much hunting as I can and getting after it. I'll be out there till January. See if I can get another one till the freezer. So, thanks for listening, Matt, and hope you have a good one.
All right, good morning and welcome to the Bowyer podcast. This is your host, Matthew Morris. I'm really excited to introduce our guest today, Matt Zirnsak, who is a family man, outdoorsman, avid traditional archer, and perhaps the original gangster of traditional bow hunting podcasts. Matt's an outstanding steward of our sport and has expanded the Push Archery from a small radio show to providing comprehensive online courses, content, and merchandise, which you can use on the range and in the field. Before we get to Matt, I want to shout out to one of our show partners, Bowyer Archery. Bowyer Archery is proud to continue what Fred Bowyer started over 90 years ago. The spirit, vision, and craftsmanship that Fred put in each bow remain in the core component of their takedown, recurve bows, and longbow lineups. Use discount code BOWYER when purchasing a traditional bow from thebowyercollective.com. Now to our guest, Matt. How are you?
What's going on? That was quite the intro.
Ah, man, short and fast. Sweet. Lots of small words for my limited vocabulary.
I wouldn't go that far. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I know that we've rescheduled at least once or twice because it's dadgum hard to get a recording in when we're not in the woods. Because during the main prime 8 or 9 hours of the day, we're doing our real job thing. And then our other time, it's either kids or we're trying to be in the deer woods.
Exactly.
So I'm glad we were able to knock this out this morning over coffee before I had to start my nerd job and you had to get to the rest of the day.
That's right.
Everything going well in your neck of the woods?
Things are going well. It's late October or late November.
Yeah.
It's holidays are right around the corner. Family time is going to be like max here over the next 6 weeks. So this is our favorite time of year for sure.
Do you have some extended family coming into town? What are your Thanksgiving plans?
No, luckily we have all of our family pretty much, aside from a few of my brothers and their families moved away. But pretty much we have 2 giant families on both sides, my wife's side and mine, and we're all here local. So it's a great time. Yeah, Christmas is awesome for us.
I love that time frame. I've got my mother's flying in from Missouri this week, actually, I think tomorrow, and then so we're
staying with you all week then.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome.
But we've never really had like family close since we were adults, my wife Carmi and I, because I was doing the military and the government things. We live all over the world, so I always feel super blessed to have folks come in or us go there. At this point, though, my kids are 10 and 12, and I'm like, I tell my parents, I'm like, hey, it's way cheaper for you to fly to me than me to fly.
Why don't you guys come to me?
Yeah. Besides, awesome. I can be curmudgeon-y where I'm like, if I'm tired in the evening and I'm tired of dealing with everybody, I just Irish goodbye everybody and go to bed.
Right? You're like, oh, I got a podcast I have to go.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get up early in the morning. Something.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, we had you on the Push podcast back in August on episode 355, which was that was like the first time that we had an extended conversation. We met each other at ETAR, which was super great. And it's been great getting to know you here, like through the podcasts.
Same, man. I've listened to you. I've heard your voice and been very familiar with it for years at this point. And even before I picked up a trad bow, it'd be awesome, man. And I don't know if kids are still saying like OG or original gangster or whatever it is, right? But despite you being like my age, like the grandfather of traditional archery podcasts.
Oh boy, that's quite a label.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I could live up to that.
you've let us know that us guys and gals that have a glutton for punishment with a single sick and string can go out and tell stories and provide a platform for other people to tell their stories too, right? Man. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you, and I think that our community appreciates you and what you've been doing from the podcast and all the content that you're doing, and also the innovative stuff, which we'll get into with merchandise and gear and all that stuff, man. But before we do that, you're always getting other people's stories in. And a lot of us have listened to you for a long time, but I don't think you've really dusted off a good origin story for yourself for a while. So can you give us that?
Yeah, for sure. I don't like being on this side of the conversation. I'm so much more comfortable in your seat for sure. But yeah, origin story. Okay. Grew up moving around the East Coast. I have 3 brothers, or 2 brothers. There's 3 of us boys. I'm the youngest. Moved around all the time and with my dad's job. And was always a kind of weekend warrior rifle hunter and a small game hunter. So that's how me and my friends here locally, once I got to high school age range, we cut our teeth on freedom, just jump shooting rabbits. We drive around in my buddy's old Dodge Caravan and get into some rabbit habitat and just bail out of the truck, bail out of the van and go jump shoot rabbits and stuff, door knocking and all that good stuff. So that was like the outdoors to me. But then this would have been probably roughly around 2005, 2006, my buddies were getting into archery, like for bow hunting purposes. My father-in-law he passed when he was 54, but he was a diehard bow hunter and raised. My best friends were basically my wife's brothers and cousins before she became my wife. So I was always running around. She was always like my buddy's younger sister, but we were the same.
She knew what kind of trouble you could get in.
That's right.
I do, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyhow, long story short, they started shooting bows. They were going over to a local bow club here locally and shooting in the evenings. It was a 24 target outdoor course. It's a bow hunters club through and through. It's not about target archery. And these guys would go over on Tuesday nights during the summertime when we were back from college. So I wanted to participate, but I wasn't into archery. So I told my wife, hey, I'm really interested in archery, but every time the boys have their compounds out, they were shooting these. This is again like in 2005, 2006. They were shooting 1980s Hoyts that were never taken care of, no maintenance. And every time I was at the family farm and they got the bows out, like shit was flying off the bows, like cams were derailing and all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, wow, this is archery. This looks really dangerous. So I'm a nerd like most of us are. And so like recurves and longbows, like from the fantasy world and stuff, like really cool. So I told my wife in February, I want to, summer league's coming up. The boys are going to be hanging out on Tuesdays. I want to get into archery, but I think recurves and longbows are cool. That Christmas, she gifted me my very first recurve. So she started this.
Was
so
it pre-marriage or post-marriage?
This was pre-marriage. This was
you knew that she was the one at that point.
That's right. This was a year before we got married. Yeah.
That's
so got the bow, and I just fell in love with it. Like I'm a sponge. I'm going crazy, reading everything I possibly can, logging on to every single forum I possibly can, and I practiced my heart out from that December until the following hunting season. And we were still in school, so I started like door knocking and getting some permission properties and stuff up in the Erie, Pennsylvania area. And my first season, I ended up, I think it was 5 or 6 deer I missed clean. And then the second season, I missed another 5 deer clean and shot and killed my 12th. So I missed 11 deer in a row and killed my 12th in my first 2 seasons with this thing. And it was just like, talk about a grind, man. Like that's my origin, right? That's what started this all. And so then I just kept going, right? And as I started getting more successful and figuring this out, then it was 2 deer a year. And then my misses were going down. And then it was all of a sudden I'm killing 3 deer a year. And once I started getting to that point, a couple of my buddies started taking notice and were like, oh, dang, you're getting good at this. I'm done shooting my 1980s Hoyt. It's too many problems. It's always breaking. Can you teach me how to do what you're doing and let me get a recurve, help me buy a recurve and stuff. So I started bringing my friends in under my wing, and then our local bow hunting group like just started turning all into recurve bow hunters. And so we started like just leaning on each other and shooting does and just getting so amped up because we didn't have any mentors, no older age class bow hunters that were like mentoring us. This was all like being grassroots created in our little community from like the young guys, which was pretty cool. And yeah, I just kept bringing more and more people in under my belt or into the traditional bow hunting thing. And around number 2021 was Tim Neville. So me and him went to college together, and he was going to convert over from a compound. He was a very successful compound bow hunter, and he was like, hey, I'm ready. So I took him under my wing and went through the whole process. And I would always hand any new bow hunter that was wanting to get into traditional bow hunter, I'd hand them the stack of Masters of the Bear bows.
Yeah.
Go watch all these, and then come back to me. And then I'd lend them a bow, lend them arrows, take them outside, show them a fixed crawl, show them some quick aiming and full biomechanics things. And then pretty quickly they were getting proficient enough to where they felt comfortable going in the woods with these things. And so after Tim went through the program, it was like, hey, he suggested you should write a book with this process. I'm like, I'm not going to write a book, but you're really good at cinematography. So we collaborated and we're like, hey, let's just do a video. Let's go to my family farm's barn. Let's get all the bows I possibly can get my hands on, and let's just do a soup to nuts video. And that was the original push film. That's the origin.
Man, that's awesome. I'm going to step back a little bit because I'm not going to lie. I love your suffering for those first couple of years is bringing me joy right now. And I think for a lot of us, because some folks, us relative newcomers to traditional archery and traditional bow hunting, it's still a struggle and a grind for sure. 100%. And man, I think this is my 4th bow season with the stick bow. And man, I think I've just consistently missed 2 deer a year for the last 3 years. And while I've been able to get probably a dozen pigs, got a couple of bears now, got an alligator, some small game, all that stuff, whitetail have largely evaded me with the stick bow until just this year. And man, I remember I was texting a buddy of mine, Chris Guades. He's one of the chaplains with Compton and good friend. And I think he was out at Monty Browning's place last fall. And we were texting and he was like, it was a morning. He was like, oh man, I just missed the deer, shot right over it. And I was like, oh man, you got to compensate when you're in a stand, go aim down a little bit. Literally 30 minutes later, I did the exact same thing on a doe. I texted him and I was like,
practice what I preach.
I was like, I got caught up in the moment and it was such a good shot. And so we talk on here a lot about lowering the barrier to entry, but that's not to make there's some simplicity to it, but it's not easy, right? It's what people say in the gym and everything else, simple, not easy. And I think that's very much the case. But everybody, when they transition to this craft, there is a period of growth. And that's not just a struggle, right? It is true growth where we're actually getting better the whole time. Our woodsmanship
100%.
is getting better. Our optical acuity of just spotting deer and watching them come in is getting better, right? We know that we're not looking for that whatever deer to come out at 100 yards that we can shoot with our rifle, or 60 or 70, 80 yards with our compound. And we're trying to hold steady for a longer period of time to let that animal come within, say, 20, 25 yards. All of these things are getting better. So while there is struggle to it, it's also a period of tremendous growth. And I think you articulated that so well in your kind of origin story. So I appreciate you sharing that. It probably makes, again, relative newcomers like myself feel a lot better about this journey.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going on. So, man, you've got like the film and the podcast. Like, when did you decide, especially like, so the podcast has been long going. Everybody can listen to that and we'll put it on the show notes and we'll call it out at the end. But man, like the YouTube has also blown up, and it's not just the short hunting films. Can you walk us through what you're offering from a visual media content now? Because there's on the YouTube, and then let's go towards like the center of excellence that you have with all of the education formatting and everything else. Is that kosher?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So that first video that dropped, that was back in 2016. So then one video turned into 3 videos, turned into 12 videos, and they were all very instructional in nature and very open and transparent. I remember one of our 3rd or 4th videos that we even put out there was I was going to ETAR and I was going to shoot the Eagle Eye competition. And this would have been the very first ETAR after the video launched. So I had been going to ETAR for years and just being a complete nobody, just a normal traditional bow hunter, which I still view myself as today. But I go there after that video launched, and then I just noticed like people would stop talking when I was walking by or Tim was walking by, and people were going like, oh, I think that's that dude from that video. And it was just such a weird moment to where that immediately just changed everything for me. It was like, this is very strange. I'm uncomfortable with this. It took a learning curve because that video went so viral in the traditional community, which is viral could go in a niche sport. But that was very weird. So anyhow, one of my favorite videos, you can go back and watch it. It's push 1.4 or something back when we were still numbering our videos. It's like the 4th video we ever did. And I'm at ETAR and I'm shooting at this deer target, and it has to be at like 16, 17 yards, trying to hit the orange dot to get qualified to go in. And I just have a complete target panic meltdown. And there's a group of people standing behind me. This had been post video being, and I knew these guys knew who I was. And it was just like the pressure that I was feeling is something I've never felt like in my life. And I'm like missing this target over and over again. And I'm like, what do we do with this footage? What do we do with the footage of me just completely having a complete meltdown in front of a bunch of people? So we made a video out of it, which was really awesome. And so that's been the vibe for the last 6, 7, 8 years on the YouTube side, was always to be instructional in nature. We were meeting a lot of people, especially when we launched the podcast in 2017. We started like reaching out to people, and our MO was always, we wanted to know how you did what you did so well. What are you actually saying in your head in the moment of truth? How are you looking at the woods and getting into the red zone of so many deer so consistently, and mature deer at that? So we are always trying to like peel back the onion of these guests. Through doing that, you meet a lot of great people. And so we started collaborating and making videos of some of the best people in the world at shooting these seemingly simple weapons, but they're very difficult to shoot and be proficient with. We started like getting them on videos and everything. So for the longest time, from 2016 to probably maybe 18 or 19, it was all like pseudo instructional and entertainment based type of videos that are on the YouTube channel. But then we had this idea in 2019, roughly, let's start showing people how we're doing what we're doing in the woods. Let's just show like less of it like an instructional side of things, but more from an entertainment perspective. Let's have hunting videos on our YouTube channel as well that kind of show like, oh, this is possible. Like we're over here on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, like talking about instruction about like when you get in the woods. We're always talking about when you're in the woods, do this and this, but we're never like actually showing it as practitioners of what we're teaching. So we just started filming hunts and got a lot of people involved in filming their hunts as well. So right around 2019 through now, present time, the fall and winter time is really heavy in the hunting content, showing actual successful hunts and maybe not so successful hunts. And then for the rest of the year, our YouTube channel is pretty much filled with like bare bow competitive content, more instruction, more like the how-to type of stuff as well. So the YouTube channel has definitely evolved over the last 9 years now, which is crazy to say.
It really has, man. There's so much instructional content that people can pull out, and it's regardless of your shooting style, right? You've got a variety of shooting styles on here from the bare bow competition style to more of a hunting style, from gap shooting to 3-under, instinctive, what have you, a variety of different types of bows. So anybody that's really trying to learn virtually can tap into that free resource that is your YouTube channel. And it's grown so well, man. I think you've got 45,000 subscribers to it, which is amazing. And when I just did a cursory search, I'm like, it's awesome. Like you've got a variety of these hunting videos from yourself to folks like Kurt and Greg that just are straight up spend way less time in the archery circuit, but they're prolific hunters.
Oh, yeah.
They're just always knocking stuff down. And then you've got your competition content. And for some people, I'm always like, I'm a very average shot. Yeah, it's fine. But like the guys that really love the competition circuit, like they're just dialed into it. I watch people getting into the comments and everything else. And I found myself, again, not being interested in like the archery competition piece, but I watch them because I'm learning from the content.
Absolutely. I think this is a good segue, or not segue, but just a good point just to interject. I just feel as I started getting better in the woods in that year 2, 3, 4 timeframe was the same time I got into competition archery. I started rubbing elbows with quite literally the best single string non-sighted shooters on the planet. And they're just amazing. And we have so many homegrown ones here on the East Coast. It's unbelievable. You have the Dwayne Martins and John Demmers of the world. Like over the years, our bench of bare bow competitors on the world stage has just grown so much. It's so cool. And every one of these guys are bow hunters. They all started with bow hunting here on the US side of things. And so it was just like, that was my aha moment where it was like, oh, I'm going to just learn from these guys. Like all they're trying to do is get their arrow to hit a scored rings mark on a 3D animal or an indoor paper target. And they're trying to do it consistently. What can I learn from these guys and how can I bundle that and apply it to bow hunting to make myself better? And that's really where a lot of the competition side of the content's coming. And it's amazing to see the growth of just that sport in the US. More and more bow hunters are coming over and trying it. And it's just one of those things where someone like you might practice all year round, all through the summertime, and then hunting season's here and you get your opportunity that you've been waiting for. And you have 40 hours logged in the stand up until this point, and you're like, holy crap, it's finally here. Here it is. You lose your shit a little bit and your arrow's sticking in the dirt. And you're like, what the heck happened? Now you have no idea when you're going to be able to practice that shot again. And it might not be like that specific shot at that angle with that deer at this distance, but that shooting under that high intense pressure with the adrenaline dump, the shaky hands, all the bio issues that arise through an adrenaline dump, like you can't practice that again until the moment of truth is there again. And you might get 3, 5, 6, 10 chances a year, and on the outside 10's a lot for the average hunter.
Yeah.
Like how many chances have you had to release an arrow on a deer in the last 3 years, like total?
Man, I'm in the swamps, North Carolina. So like in 3 years total, less than 20.
Yeah. So that's probably above average, to be honest. That's above average. That's a lot of opportunities in 3 years. And so a lot of guys are probably closer to the 10 range. Yeah. And so anyhow, long story short, standing on a competitive line, like getting out of your comfort zone, even though you have no idea about equipment rules and all these different things. If you just brought your hunting bow to a league night where you're actually scoring a 300 round or a 600 round, or maybe even ripping the Band-Aid off and jumping in the deep end, go to a Lancaster where there are thousands of archers standing on this line at the same time.
A lot of pressure.
It's just so cool to be able to, like, when you are standing there and they announce this is the first end of scoring and you're coming to full draw and you're going, oh no, this feels familiar. I know what's about to happen, and the shot doesn't go as planned. It's so cool to know that you have 59 more arrows right behind that to practice shooting in this type of environment under these conditions with this adrenaline dump. And honestly, like with you said 3 years, it's 20 opportunities. So that's roughly about 9 years worth of experience you're going to get in one weekend shooting at a big national tournament, right? Because you get 60 high pressure arrows guaranteed. And that's where the work happens. And I'm on a mission to try to get as many people into competitive archery as possible just for that, because it's going to make you a better bow hunter for sure.
I really believe it, man. I wasn't even going to local shoots or anything. The nearest traditional archery club for me is almost 3 hours away. And it's a small group called the Barefoot Traditional Archers. And they're part of the North Carolina Bow Hunting Association as well. And I think they're part of the circuit out here on the East Coast too, or the Blue Ridge Circuit or something like that. It goes from like Virginia and the Carolinas. And the president right now is also like a former like IBO world champion, Lee Hinton, good old guy.
Yep.
And
he's a shooter, man.
Man, he really is. And
he's a shooter.
He was calling me every month for like the last year and inviting me to go out. Never met me in person, just talked on text messages and phone calls.
Yeah.
Super sweet guy. And then I made it to the last shoot before season started here. And I was like, why don't I make time to come do this once a month or even every other month? Because the fellowship it's just like deer camp, right? The fellowship is awesome. And we're lacking that in general society right now, whether it's spiritual or something in the outdoors, men relying on other men or leaning on other men, not relying on and having the stewardship craft, the fellowship of humans getting together. But also it's just a great opportunity to get advice from folks. I haven't had a good mentor for traditional bow hunting. There's not like a strong community where I'm at, and I'm a terrible virtual learner. So having these as opportunities is great. But I think even starting at your local trad archery club, those shoots, I put a lot of pressure on myself. If I've just got 6 or 8 guys and gals shooting, like to me, there's a lot of pressure there. And I do find myself shooting not well in those groups.
Well.
I'm just like,
I love it.
I can come in my yard and I've got 3 or 4 targets and it's fine, right? But it's a very controlled environment. And I'm even doing different distances and shooting off my deck to mimic a tree stand, all these things. And I get in front of a group of people in a range that I've never been, and it's a hill.
Yeah, but that's where the work happens, right?
It's so true.
And even if you don't have a traditional archery club, I shoot primarily. Most of my shooting is with compound, unlimited, like full open pro guys, and just being at a club at a league night where you got 20 guys on the line and everyone's scoring, and you're part of the minority, right? There's not going to be a lot of barebow archers there, and there might be one other guy shooting a trad bow or whatever. You take on this, I have a responsibility to show these guys that these weapons are proficient. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that builds pressure. So I don't want people to like shy away from getting involved in it if they go to their local indoor league here they're all kicking off right now. Indoor leagues are kicking off all across the country. And if you just go to any archery club and you walk in there and the whole thing's filled with compounds, don't let that shy away. These dudes are awesome. They're bow hunters. They're super welcoming, and just step up there.
Most of us were compound hunters before we were trad hunters.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. No, I think those are great. That's great advice. And those are great words of encouragement, because it can be a little daunting. Yeah. And we've all got a little something to prove, even when we say we don't. So it's there, and that pressure. And I think that pressure is going to make you a little bit more stable and confident in the woods as well.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah. Let's pivot to the next period of evolution that you've got with, and I might be saying it wrong. I keep calling it like the push center of excellence.
That's right. Yep. Pretty close.
You've got a robust archive now of education and entertainment material that is adjacent to your YouTube.
Yep.
Can you tell us what you're doing there? I personally have used Tom Clum's. I purchased his series probably 2 or 3 years ago when I first started this. And you know this from ETAR this year, but I was able to get some tutelage from Tom for a day and a half at ETAR. And had I not viewed the virtual training before that immersion with him at ETAR, it wouldn't have transferred so easily.
Sure.
But man, there's so much information there. So let us know what type of informative and education and entertainment material that you're providing adjacent to the YouTube.
Yeah, perfect. So in 2017, we launched the podcast, and then we started just racking up the episodes and meeting all of these subject matter experts from around the country and the world through interviewing them for the podcast. We were obviously watching the numbers and seeing the responses from people, and it just seemed every time we would get a couple different subject matter experts on, the response was like we'd see these little spikes or a lot of engagement. And we started seeing these different characters evolving through the podcast, like Tom Klum, Joel Turner, John Demmer. Like these are like the big names that were good at what they did. Cody Greenwood, obviously, people love Cody's episodes. So as we would strike gold with some of these characters, like I would latch onto them and just really enjoy having them on the show and trying to dig in deeper and deeper, like the coaching moments series that we would launch on the podcast there, featuring Tom Klum. Those things were very strong signals. Like people are really hungry for more in-depth instructional content, especially more than what we can give them through just audio only on the podcast. So then that's where kind of the idea was born of the Push Archery Center of Knowledge. So it's the pack, it's the website, thepusharchery.com serves as a portal to the Push Archery Center of Knowledge. So you just click right into the school, and we have, I think right now we're up to 9 or 10 different course offerings. So we use this platform, which is really neat. We can basically go to a subject matter expert like Tom or Cody, and we basically help them storyboard the lesson plan. And how are we going to cut this thing up into modules, which are individual lessons within their larger 50,000 foot lesson plan. And so we help them break that out. We will film it, we'll bring it back, we'll edit it, we'll build out the course offering, and then we offer it in the school. And so it's just been great. So in 2019, we launched the Push Archery Center of Knowledge. I think we launched it with Joel Turner already had his online school in his own school. So we just basically took his course. It's an exact copy. Every time control process shooting gets updated on Joel's side or on our side, the other one also matches it from a revision perspective. So Joel had his out there, so we brought his in. We helped Tom with solid archery mechanics. Then we brought on the JD3 barebow, and then there's the traditional Vision Quest anthology, which is all Masters of the Barebow content in one online course, which is super awesome. Plus all additional like traditional Vision Quest hunting content is also in that one digital offering, which is pretty cool. Roots, we have Jimmy Blackman and Rod Jenkins teaming up together and coming out with an awesome online course between the two of them. So yeah, it's just been really cool to build this community of students that are, YouTube's a great resource, podcasts are a great resource, but there's something about paid education that like we make sure that you're getting every penny you spend's worth. Some of these courses like solid archery, I think is up over 15, 16 hours of content, which is awesome. I think precision tuning for the diehard bow hunter with Cody Greenwood's well over 10. And even when you're looking at the marketing on those individual sales pages for each course, like the hours of content are off. The data's off because we keep adding. We're adding additional modules to the courses. And I think that's really cool because our students then, as our coaches are in a continuous improvement mindset, they're constantly learning. They're getting more students like face to face. So they're learning how to deliver their message. Tom will come to us and say, I went back and reviewed the hook. I've learned how to teach this way better. Let's redo how we do the hook, and we'll replace that module. And as soon as any update happens, every student in their profile gets that update for free. It just updates right to their course content. Yeah, huge, strong value. It's a one-time purchase, lifetime access.
That's what I was going to highlight, is because I purchased solid archery mechanics again 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And like I've gone back and picked specific lessons I wanted to look at, or after I had those conversations with Tom at ETARS, I want to dive into this a little bit better so I can make sure I'm retaining it, wrapping my head around it. So the lifetime access is brilliant. Again, that's the only one that I purchased at this point, but I found it of great value. Also, since this is the Bowyer podcast, Clay Hayes has a comprehensive course on there too.
Yep.
The Master Bowyer course too, right? Which is way more comprehensive. And I had spoken to Clay about this a long time ago when we had him on the podcast, but it was like, it's more comprehensive than any of his YouTube stuff, right? It's got a lot of these other details and everything else that are integrated into it to teach you virtually.
That's right.
And I think that, again, folks that are wanting to learn the craft of making your own bow from a single piece of wood, it's a great opportunity. And me personally, my journey, which I told on your podcast, Matt, was I took a Bowyer course before I got into traditional bow hunting.
Yeah.
And so folks that are wanting to be like, hey, I want to do the craft, and in addition to pursuit of wild game or 3D archery, you've got everything there. And I know it's going to continue to grow, which will probably, be like that next step of this conversation. But I just wanted to highlight, man, like nobody's providing the comprehensive catalog or portfolio of training and education material that you guys are providing. It's fantastic. It's really kind of like this encyclopedia of traditional bow hunting and traditional archery. And I love to see the growth and the innovation of what's being delivered. Is there anything, do you have plans that you can disclose for like what's going to be included in 2026 or new projects within that realm?
Yep. So we are currently working on a few new courses right now that will be launching, then many updates to the other courses. I can't go into a ton of details, but like precision tuning is going to be getting ramped up with additional modules being added to there. And like I said, anybody that's already enrolled are going to get those additional modules for free the minute they go live, which is really awesome. Yeah, a lot of plans for leaning into the existing course structure that we have, and then also additional course offerings as well on top of that.
That's so cool, man. Is Cody doing some more of the tuning stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's a brilliant dude, super nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, super nerd. I think one of the cool things about the courses and stuff is like each module. So if Cody is talking about something super nerdy, like the physics of how the knock detaches from the string when the limbs come back to brace, like that really pivotal moment in the tuning process, like we go into like hyper nerd detail and stuff. So there's a lot of questions around that specific 7-minute, 15-minute module, whatever it is. Each module within the Center of Knowledge has its own public forum underneath it. So students can just, as they're watching the video, they're in minute 7 of a 15-minute video, Cody says something that's, oh, I wonder what he meant by that or whatever, or he wants to elaborate to it. They can just, as they're watching the video, type a question in there, and every student can see that question being posted. And then Cody will, within a week's period of time, he'll go through and respond to all open comments and stuff. So there's a body of knowledge growing underneath each module. And then that's also a signal to us to really shine a light on what additional modules or additional information do we need to dig deeper into in the next wave of modules. Like what modules have a huge discussion underneath it and what questions are being asked. And then we'll take all that and address it in a 10-minute video and then post it later on in the course structure and stuff. So that's like our process there.
Like I love it because you guys are taking it from a true education standpoint. Like I did adult education stuff for a while where I was was an educator and teacher and instructor at military schools. And part of that content is, right, you're delivering content to the students. They're being evaluated, whether it's experientially, a written exam, or verbal, right? And then you gather that feedback, and that helps curate your future curriculum. And that's, you guys are doing it from a true educator standpoint. So I love that. Also, I don't know if anybody heard the music just came on. I was on your website looking at the like the pocket clippers because I wanted to talk about the gear next that it came on. So it's probably a podcast faux pas, but
that happens to me all the time. Like I have a guest on and they're talking about some like critical moment in a video, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to their YouTube channel. And every time it just starts, an ad starts blaring. I'm like, oh, you idiot.
Because I do want to pivot to the equipment that you guys are providing now, because it's very innovative. I know like Greg and Logan Kraus had your like the pocket quiver, and I think it's the Ridge Runner. At ETAR they were running, so one's a little bit smaller than the other, and they were like, I was like, man, this is like perfect for the range. So we get into that, but. So we got your YouTube, right? And then you got the paid educational content. And man, like actually before I get to the equipment, I want to talk about like you've now grown so much that this was your side hustle. And now it's your full hustle, right?
It is. I think this is the first time publicly disclosing that.
Oh man, are we okay to do that?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Yeah, man, I don't want to like curtain if you're planning on doing that at another moment.
I just really haven't made that announcement or addressed it or anything like that on any of my content and stuff. But yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, okay, great. Like at ETAR, you're talking about it briefly, right? And I'm like,
ETAR, the notice was put into my full-time job at that point.
Moment, which man, it's so huge. I just was like, man, this man's been blessed. this work that you've done for the last several years is really paying off. And now your passion becomes your profession. And, what were those pivotal moments that allowed you to say, hey, like, I've got the base, whether it's like revenue generation, I can pay my bills and feed my family, to that strategic growth of how you can see, okay, this will be next, like kind of your business model.
That's right.
Not divulging your business model, but how you can understand that it's sustainable. And you took that very, I think, bold leap.
Yes. It took a lot of bravery to make the dive. Yeah. So it's been great since August of this past year. I've been doing this full time. You could probably notice by just the uptick in content, I have more time to do this now. And yeah, the decision was just basically made. It turned out to be an opportunity cost decision. So I looked at what I was able to do with the brand, putting 15, 20 hours into it a week on top of my 40-hour a week profession. I was a project manager with a team of engineers just developing cool products for the first responder market. Like product development, I was a mechanical engineer by schooling, and that's what I did for my career until I got into project management, also working with a bunch of engineers. So just product development has just been like my thing. It's been my world. It's been my career for the longest time. And I was just always like applying that to this passion, this side project and stuff, just like business growth, business planning, business acumen, like trying to learn as much of that as possible. And then obviously looking at, okay, how do we take the platform that we have and how do we grow it to the point where it could sustain potentially? Back in like 2020 is whenever I was like, I think this thing could go. Like this could be a thing. What's the plan? And I knew it was going to be a 3 to 5 year plan to get there, and just like slowly started executing that plan as we move through the different seasonalities of the year. That's the scary part. Whenever you're about to make this leap of faith, it's okay, things are going really right now. And you think from a cash flow perspective, you can sustain it. But then is there a seasonality here? Is this just a small blip on the overall radar that's like on a high point and stuff? So yeah, it's been great. It's been really great. And I just appreciate each and every person that listens to the podcast and shares them with their buddies and subscribing to the channel, watching our videos. And then just after time pivoting and going to the website and spending money with us, I'm just so blessed. This community has been so good to us, and I wouldn't change anything. So I'm happy to be in the position I'm in right now, and just wanting to continue to give great content and just give back more to the community than what I've gotten from it, which is a tall order to fill because this community is the absolute best.
It is, man. There's no doubt. I've not encountered such a welcoming
That's amazing
than I have here in this domain. And man, I'm so stoked for you. Like just talking about it again, I can see the zeal and passion in your facial expressions and in the tone of your voice that it's like, there's no regrets here. It's awesome. You're really excited about that transition and that move. And again, like the content and everything else has certainly been compounded now that you've been able to dedicate full time to that endeavor. So I'm super excited for you. I'm excited for what's going to come.
Thank you.
And with that, so there's folks, that can support you through listening to the podcast, the YouTube, the not center of excellence, center of knowledge. And again, small vocabulary, words is hard.
That's right.
And now like you've been like, this clicks now, because I did not know that you're a mechanical engineer by trade and by schooling, or being a product manager type. I work in aerospace, and I work with big brain engineers all the time, and they dumb things down for me a lot.
Yeah, always the dumbest person in the room.
And then I try to translate that to like normal speak for like end users. Yeah. I get it. And running, so like I do more on the BD side, but so I'm constantly translating what the end users want, typically in the government's national security domain, to our engineers, right? And product managers. Hey, this is how we need to articulate this on a product roadmap, timelines when it's going to come into fruition, et cetera, et cetera. So it makes so much sense that you are very much productizing your content, not just from a podcast standpoint, but from all these other things. Like you have a strategic mindset where you're building this in a very modularized approach. And I love that. It's brilliant. And now you've got hard goods. You've always had t-shirts and some of these other things, right?
Yeah.
But now you've got a list of equipment and gear in addition to apparel. Can you talk to us about that transition and what you've added in and where you see that evolution happening?
Yeah, I guess this is just a funny story back to the origin story and stuff. This would have been late July or mid-July of 2016. So this is when or maybe it was the following year, 2017. Either way, not important. We were at a point where the podcast was going, the YouTube video, the channel was going, and we had no products, no services, nothing to offer whatsoever. So this is talking about products. I think of a funny story back to the origin, because when you're in a position when you have a podcast and you have a YouTube channel and everything's free to consume, it's interesting to think about, okay, at some point, it's got to be worth something to you. Your time, like all of us in
Time
this
has
space,
value.
Time has value, and all of us in this space started this organically and as a passion. Like none of us, like who could have thought that you could actually make a career out of content creation in traditional archery? Like nobody did. So even me, I didn't have this core belief until it was right around 2020. So that would have been 4 years into this of creating content on a regular weekly basis. And up those 4 years were just like blood, sweat, and tears, sweat equity, and purely like just doing it because of passion. And this was just funny because our very first attempt at trying to make some money to help fund the cost of equipment and cost of some of these services to host podcasts and stuff, we made this big run of hats and stickers, limb stickers. And we were at the IBO Traditional World Championships in Tennessee. And we were parked there in the middle of the parking lot. That's where we were camping. And I laid out all these hats on the hood of my dad's truck with a paper plate sign that said hats, $25, limb stickers, whatever they cost. And it was just like taped to the front of his grill of his truck. And so they stayed out there all day while we were out there moving around and stuff. I think at the end of the weekend, we ended up selling like 4 hats, something stupid like that. But I brought the hats back into the camper, and I hear this knock on the camper, and this guy's there, and I'm like, oh, somebody wants to buy another hat. And he's holding his hat in his hand, and he had just purchased it from me. He's like, hey, do you have any other ones that didn't sit out on the car hood all weekend? Because the legacy hats have the sticker on the bill. It faded. The sun was so hot. It faded every bit of the hat except for this dark circle where the sticker was. And I ruined our entire first batch of hats that we had made. Yeah. So that's just like thinking about, it's fun. This podcast is fun for me, like thinking back, because a lot of times you don't pause to like reflect and look back at the start and everything. So that's whenever we first started, was like 2017, 2018. Let's put some hats out there and whatnot. But then 2019 was the Push Archery Center of Knowledge, the online courses. And then I believe it was 2019 that our Alpha Pack launched. And so I
didn't realize you've had the Alpha Pack out that long.
Yeah, it's been out. It's been our longest standing product itself. And so I'm just like personally, I'm like a user-based design engineer. So I'm always just, every time I'm doing anything, I'm going, okay, is there something that I can quickly fabricate that solves this problem? And I really like solving problems that people don't know they have which is really, really cool. But the Alpha Pack was actually, I was using a bunch of Amazon drop leg pouches because I'm a minimalist from a bow hunting perspective. I'm a whitetail addict on the East Coast. So my hunting is, I park the truck, I'm sneaking in maximum 400 yards from wherever I'm able to get my truck on these properties. So I don't need a lot of stuff, and I don't like backpacks. I don't like big movements in the tree stand to like spin and twist to get into your bag that's hanging behind you. So I wanted a drop leg pouch that I could basically keep all of my stuff that I need within reach on my string side, and it minimizes all my movement. So I ended up trying every single drop leg pouch on the market that was out there, and I ended up finding one that was discontinued and no longer being manufactured. So I bought a bunch of them, and they were pretty cheaply manufactured. They were made overseas, and so they were lasting me about a season. So I had about 4 of them. So I knew the time was ticking. Oh, I better bring something to market because I'm on my last one right now. So I ended up reverse engineering some features that I liked about that one, but then obviously building upon that offering. And so I designed the Alpha Pack to be a minimalist bow hunting pack. It's there. All the features are built around what key things do you need on a bow hunt for a 3 to 5 hour bow hunt on the East Coast. And then in the 11th hour of the design, at the very end, I told my manufacturer, I'm like, let's just throw a quiver behind the main pouch, like a quiver pocket. Like literally it was an afterthought. And the Alpha Pack was born. We brought that to market, and it's been doing really well. And so we got requests from people that were like, we love all the features that you put into the Alpha Pack, but it doesn't have enough space for me. I would like to have a little bit more space. So we came out with the Ridge Runner, which is all the same features of the Alpha Pack, all the same bomb-proof construction, but it's like a crossbody design. and it's about 2 times the capacity as the Alpha Pack. So it's about 2 times bigger. And then our most recent like quiver offering is the Delta Pocket Quiver. And that one came out last year, and that one's been doing really well. And that one's actually getting really popular in the compound space, which is pretty cool.
Maybe it was Maddie. He was carrying around one of those, I think, at ETAR or something like that too. Super cool. And I was like, and you've added color varieties and everything.
Yep.
Accommodating to a lot of folks.
For sure.
Man, this is an unplanned segue, but I know you're very much a minimalist bow hunter, but you film a lot.
Yeah, it's terrible.
How do you get your film equipment, whether it's your camera arm or whatever else, and still maintain like without a true backpack and all that stuff?
Yeah, so all of my camera gear goes into one specialty design bag that I had manufactured for me for my specific gear. So that you'll see it in videos every now and then. It's like hanging back behind me on the tree, but it's a pack that I strap. So I have my Lone Wolf custom gear 0.5 with 4 sticks, and then on top of that, this little bag, it's like this big, that has my camera arm, has a bow hanger, has my main primary camera in it, and that's about it. Maybe a couple other little hooks that if I'm hand holding the primary camera rather than using the camera arm. But once I get up to the tree, that pack then sits on the seat. I take everything out of the pack as I'm setting it up on the tree, and when I'm done, that bag is empty. If that bag has stuff in it, I'm carrying too much. Like I'm having stuff that I don't need. So the very next time I pull it out. So that bag needs to be empty when I'm done. And then I just sling it over the camera arm, and it just stays there until I'm ready to pack everything up. So I
have not figured out a way to not be clunky or just it being a huge pain in the butt.
So everything I need to actively bow hunt as the hunter in the equation, it's in my Alpha Pack. That's it. That's all I have. Yep. And then the camera gear's there. And honestly, dude, it's especially this time of year, every single hunt I'm going out, I'm having a mental warfare. I'm like, I only want to bring this. I just want to bring my head mount GoPro. I'm not bringing my primary camera.
I know, man. But if you want to capture anything, which I'm very guilty of just not even packing the camera at all, because I'm like, man,
it's tough, dude. It's just another thing to do. It turns it into a job.
And then the head strap on the GoPro was always a pain in the butt too. So it's, I don't know. I think it was maybe Matt Tyler or one of the guys from Inside 20 have this like one that screws into the
like a 360. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that looks handy. Or a 360. I think Eric Clark from OKS Hunter recently did one at 360, and that looks like it could
streamline everything.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about putting a 360 like on my primary camera and then getting rid of the head mounts, but I haven't made that dive yet.
Yeah, I love you sharing that, because I appreciate it, because one, like, we're all trying to figure out how to streamline our process a little bit. And even if you don't ever want to share your content, we've all seen it, right? Having a camera on.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a hunt support mechanism where you can see where your shot hit.
It's so big.
It's a huge aid. It really is. And it also either puts your minds at ease, or it like provides clarity and these that. Or if it's just to share Brian Burkhart, right, from Compton, and he's just a prolific bow hunter, but he's always got a camera out and he's filming stuff, but he never shares a hunt or anything. It's like from me and my kids, grandkids, all
super
that
cool.
Stuff. Yeah, and I think I appreciate that.
I'm a firm believer just with the quality of footage that a GoPro head mount can produce right now, and the stabilization at the shot, that the image stabilization that these have come out with. If you have a GoPro 8 or above, like,
it's solid.
Just put it, especially this time of year where you're wearing a tassel cap, like, they're super comfortable. And then if they get uncomfortable, I just pop it on top of my head. It just lays on top of my head like this. And then whenever I'm like getting ready to go, I'll pull it down.
I found myself in the same way.
Just so you don't get that hot spot on your forehead.
Exactly.
Stuff. But like you said, from a hunting aid tool, gosh, man, I can't tell you how many times this thing, like I feel I'm really good at judging what my mind's eye saw in the heat of the moment. Usually like 95% of the time, when I'm like, I think I hit it here, I hit it right where I think I thought I saw it going. Mm-hmm. But man, that 5% where you're going, what the heck did I see? I can't believe the GoPros don't lie. And man, what a tool to be able to go back and review the footage and go, okay, this is the proper follow-up plan. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I think it provides that peace of mind. And
sure.
Again, like I know, like look at it, your setup, like Cody DeQuisto, like he's very ultralight minimalist. Like,
yep.
finding out these setups, because again, I'm aspiring to try to provide more video content and things of that nature. And it's still tough. Like I think to try to figure out how can I continue to do this to provide more to viewers without sacrificing my hunts. I'm gonna lie, like I'm selfish. Like my hunting comes way ahead of like getting a cool shot for someone to watch. Give me a cyber thumbs up.
Yeah, for sure. Cyber thumbs up.
So I'm not so good that I can just handle all these other distractions. So I think that's awesome, man. And I guess this is a good point, actually. It's to like, how has your season gone so far this fall? You are a prolific hunter and you're really good at getting big deer, but you also knock down some does every year. You get kids out there. How's the season going so far?
So far, the season has been an interesting one and a good one so far. So I have 5 does on the season so far right now. Kicked off the season by bombing down to Kentucky for a 4-day, went in blind, was just going to hunt public land and door knock while I was down there. That was super fun. Got into the red zone of a bunch of deer, ended up hitting a branch on my one like really good opportunity I got, and missed a doe clean down there. So came back with nothing, empty-handed. And then it was September mid like 25th or something like that is when our season came in. And actually I was feeling the pressure here this year because this year's interesting. My 14-year-old is bow hunting for the first time this year. So obviously I'm like really focused on, I really want to get him an opportunity, get him a deer. And then we had a trip out to London where we were filming Maddie Mads in her environment, and she was coming over to bow hunt with me. So we hosted her for 9 days in the middle of October, working on that film project. And then I left on October 30th and didn't return back until November 10th to go overseas for a bunch of barebow tournaments and a barebow content over there. So when I look at what a normal season would look like for me, I was basically losing 9 days in the middle of the season with Maddie, and then losing the October 30 through November 10 for this European trip. And then all sprinkled in between there, I'm like trying to get Judah deer. So he's in the hot seat. It's been a different season, man. Like typically hunting is, I'm not hosting people. I'm just nose to the grindstone. I'm just like doing my thing. But this year has been a lot different. So I'm very happy and blessed to have 5 deer under my belt so far this season. With all the, I don't want to say distractions, but with all the other obligations.
It's lateral duties for sure.
Yeah. So, but it's been great. Yeah. I cannot like track down a shooter buck to save my life now that I'm like into the meat and potatoes of the season. Early in the season when I couldn't shoot bucks and it was doe only, I had a few hammers underneath me that were just begging for arrows, but it's been a struggle for the antler deer this year for sure.
Oh, I get it. Has the video with Maddie come out yet?
No, it has not come out yet. We're currently like working on that at the moment. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Was really good. The podcast episode you did with her
stuff
was really good. So folks, if you haven't heard that one, it's really fantastic. Maddie is full of spirit. She lives in the UK, very solid archer, and was able to come out and join you. And she later joined Tom too, right?
So she joined Tom after ETAR. In the summertime, but when she was here with me, she just was with me and Ed. Yeah, we went over to Big Ed's in Eastern PA, hunted there for the first leg of the trip on a bunch of his permission lands, and then came over here for the last leg of the trip for another 4 days hunting over here. So cool. It was just so cool to be able to see it through her eyes. You see her online and all these different traditional bow hunters like at ETAR, at these rendezvous and stuff, and it was just so neat to be able to film her there in London and see a day in the life of somebody that doesn't have the freedoms that we have to be able to go to these wild places and chase these wild game, and then have her come here. And she was interesting because it's not like teaching a 14-year-old that is like completely has no base knowledge, and it's just not responding with a bunch of follow-up questions, right? Because it's just, this is how you do it. Dad said do it this way. This is how we deer hunt, right? With her, she's been part of the community for so long, and watching, like, she's knowledgeable. She knows things. She's watched countless hunting videos, hours and hours of this content. And it was just so neat to watch her, like, be able to experience climbing a tree with a lone wolf for the first time, and having the first group of deer come in. And how many times has she seen these moments unfold in front of her on YouTube? And for her to be experiencing it for the first time, it was really special.
What a tremendously organic experience. That's awesome.
It was very special.
Good on you, man. I think we all try to bring people out into the woods, whether it's their kids or adult onset hunters and everything else. But the hunting aspect or the opportunity of that has been so foreign to Maddie, despite her internal drive just due to her geographic location, all that stuff. It was awesome that you were able to like bring her into that fold and provide the experience.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, so it's been a great season. Yeah, so far.
Awesome, man. I'll try to get half of what you've got on the ground. Yeah, man. Before we transition to some of our grown-up work that's not podcast related, please let us know. Give us a little bit of insight or a teaser as to what's coming up throughout the duration of the end of the year, whether it's new video content or things that we have to look forward to in 2026.
Cool. A lot of cool new products dropping in the quiver space. So that'll be really interesting. Some more.
These going to be like Christmas gift things or post?
Unfortunately, it'll probably be a little later than that. We're trying to just keep up with growing demand at the moment. But yeah, we're definitely
in March. So maybe it'll be.
There you go. That'll be better timing. Timing. We have a few cool products coming out specifically for bow hunters. So not in the quiver space, which is really neat. So excited to launch those. And from a content standpoint, we're just trying to, now that hunting season is winding down a little bit, we're starting to try to hit our goals of 2 podcasts a week, 1 to 2 videos a week on YouTube. We're going to be doing a lot more. This is what I used in the woods this year. Here's how I climb a tree. A lot of bow reviews. So there's a lot of bows here on this rack and on the auxiliary rack in the other room that are due for some screen time on our YouTube channel. So going to be doing a lot of unboxing reviews and stuff. I have a little studio build out that I'm building out right now. That's going to be more proper for that style of video. So that's going to be hitting the YouTube channel as well. So it's been great.
Awesome. Man, I can't wait. So where can people find you in all of these places?
Yeah, super simple. So the Push Archery everywhere. Thebowyercollective.com is the website where you can find all of our products. Also serves as a portal to the Push Archery Center of Knowledge where our online courses live. And then YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Push Archery. Pretty simple to find us.
Solid. We'll put all that stuff in the show notes. And man, before we get off here, can you share a few parting words in the platform or with the focus of advice? Like somebody that's either wanting to really refine or hone in their traditional bow hunting skills or get into 3D archery for the first time. As you've seen people grow and evolve over the last few years, what have been those top couple of things that you're like, this really helped change the game for them?
That's a great question. I think first and foremost is get out of your comfort zone, because outside of your comfort zone is where growth happens. So we talked a lot about competition archery in this podcast. And I think that's honestly, that is where I saw an exponential growth curve in how I handled high pressure moments with a bow in my hand, is when I started regularly putting myself into high stress situations with my bow in my hand outside of the woods. It can be something as simple as go to your favorite Facebook group and go live in that Facebook group in your backyard, shooting at whatever you think your proficient archery range is. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. Get yourself into these adrenaline dump situations and regularly put yourself there. And that is honestly, in my opinion, the key to growth.
I love it, dude. I love it. Thanks for sharing.